a friend of mine sent me a personal message that he received from a group member of theirs in a project at school. You know, anytime you do like a group project or something, there's always a few laggards. Well, apparently one of these people was doing nothing the whole entire project. Hadn't contributed at all. Project is about to be due. Receives a message. Hi, I haven't been able to do the work because I'm from Iran. My country is at war right now. So I told my buddy right back to them, yeah, I saw what happened in Iran. How many family members did you lose? And she goes, well, thankfully 0. Thank you for asking. You go, perfect. Get to work. Have your thing submitted to drive tonight. Shabbat shalom. Also, I'm Jewish. Just say it. You're not, but just say, yeah, I'm Jewish. You're damn right your country's at war. With this guy right here. With this schnoz. Just send a picture of me. I think in this group project, I don't know if the people have ever seen each other. Just face reveal. This face. Just say, this Heeb fucking Iraqi nose right here. Yeah? Take one good hard look, because it's the last thing you're going to see in the fucking Iranian skies before we fucking come down on the Ayatollah's head. My buddy responded, yeah, I saw what happened in Iran. All right, okay, thanks for letting me know. Initially, the person hearted it. The person left a heart on the message. And that would have pissed me off, because if that were me, if I just said, yeah, I saw what happened in Iran, thanks, and then they leave a heart, that's not me saying, yeah, my heart goes out to you. I'm saying, no, I saw what happened. It gave me a boner, actually. I saw what happened, and I said, long live. Let's end the nuclear program. Let's end the post-Iran deal, the post-Obama Iran deal nuclear program. Long live the West. But no, I didn't say that. I just said, yeah, I saw what happened. The thing in my family we go capital M, lowercase m. It applies to a lot of situations. It applies to most situations. You could say it any time, really. My country's at war. That's what you say. I couldn't do the work because my country's at war. What that means is, yeah, I'm in the peer review portion of our project, you're getting 0%. You're getting a weighted percentage of 0. Whatever grade we get, I'm taking 0. We're multiplying that grade by 0. That's the weighted score. 0 from me. My buddy who's Italian, I told him he should have just taken a clipping of the news over the past week in Montreal and sent it back. Leonardo Rizzuto among 11 arrested during raids targeting Montreal Mafia, saying, yeah, my people are at war too. From their own government. Dude, that's a new one. I can't do the work because, I'm at war. My people are at war right now. That's the correct response. Someone says, my country's at war. You take a picture of fucking global news, Montreal Mafia are targeted, and say, yeah, me too, sweetheart. If that were me, I would have said, yeah, things ain't too great for me either, honey, because the people in Toronto, the Calabrians in Toronto aren't thrilled with me. Calabrians in Toronto aren't thrilled with me right now, so my Sicilian counterparts in Montreal who might have been able to go to war for me, don't go to war for me, go to battle for me and say, yeah, no, all right, he's all right, he's a good kid, don't worry. He's just fucking around. Well, decapitated, according to mob experts. The Montreal Mafia has been decapitated, according to some. One of the guys in the raid was actually named Adamo. Not Adamo, but Adamo. So that's always great when that happens. People hear your name and then people hear your name going up on stage to do stand-up and they go, wait, what? People do a fucking double take. Especially if there's Italians in the audience, you could always see, fucking, isn't that guy? They whisper to each other. Isn't that the guy who fucking, you think he's really, is that his father? So, interesting. The war. We're all at war. We're all fighting our own war. The Italian national team are going to war. The Italian national team are going to war with Israel in a couple months. I'm Sam Adamo, and this is the Bordello. All right, what's going on, folks? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another episode of the Bordello, coming to you at a very delicate point in history. History, it feels like, is playing out in real time. If you look at the news, it's really hard not to conjure up violent, explosive fantasies about how the current state of the world will all unfold. It's very difficult to look at what's going on in the world and not be concerned about the state of things and the violence and the carnage. It's quite difficult to take in such polarizing news. You see what's going on in the world today, and you say, well, oh, the horror, it's terrible. We're at war. We're at war, and sometimes it's a little bit challenging to be in a position like that because, well, you're not even sure whether you're supporting the right person, the person that's kind of acting, really the entity that is acting on behalf of your supposed interests. And there's no really other way to say this. It's just such a challenging time to read about what's going on in the world, and there really isn't much else to say. It's tough to look at. It's tough to look at, and you pan out and you say, well, I could foresee more hardship for us all. I hope it works out, but the person calling the shots now that's deciding what's going on and who to initiate combat with is a little bit rogue, perhaps. Maybe that's a concern. And I'm, of course, referring to, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, if you've been watching the news lately, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It should come as no surprise, really, that I'm referring to the appointment of Gennaro Gattuso as Italy manager. I mean, it's the thing that everyone in the world is concerned about right now. The past few days, it's all anyone's arguing about is he the right man for the job? Is he too much of a hothead? Is he going to be able to guide us through this challenging time? Will we be able to see through this difficult moment? Will we be able to achieve a result that is optimal for the collective? The collective of Italians throughout the world. That's what I've been talking about this whole time, obviously. And that's a test, by the way. Maradona used to say, that's a test to see if you're stupid. Maradona used to say, if you kick a ball at a journalist, you could tell if he's a real football guy if he catches it or if he traps it with his body. If he catches it with his chest or tries to take a touch, that's a real football guy right there. That's a guy whose opinion you could take seriously. But if he's a journalist who you kick a ball at and he tries to catch it, that's not a real football guy right there. He's not a guy whose opinion you should take seriously. If you hear me talking about war and carnage and destruction and whose side we should be on and who we want to be the one to call the shots for us, and you think Israel, I want Israel to be the ones to fight on the front lines of the battle for Western civilization, and you're thinking about Iran and the nuclear sites, it's fine. You're allowed to think that. It's reasonable. But you're not a real brain dead Guido. You're not a real brain dead guinea piece of shit. If you think of Gennaro Gattuso immediately, I mean, you're like, well, of course, this is the most important issue of today. We gonna go 16 years without a World Cup? It's been 12. I mean, we can't go 16. It's all anyone's gonna be thinking about all summer is this. It's the summer to change. It's the summer of anticipation for what's to come. What will happen in September when we take on Israel. The good thing about seeing Israel, initiating attacks on Iran right now is, well, their football team can't be sanctioned any further. They're already playing in Hungary. So there's thankfully we don't have to worry about that game getting postponed. And, when Italy plays Israel in a few months, we don't have to worry about us having to hold out to see if we could maybe qualify for the World Cup or have to wait a little further for whatever reason. That is good. It's good that Israel probably is not going to get banned by FIFA because we need Israel to beat Norway. We need Israel to take points off of Norway. So thank God. Thank God. I don't know. I mean, the solution, by the way, is to re-implement Russia. I don't know why Russia for years has been out of just like polite society. I've probably talked about this on the pod before, but it's crazy how sportingly Russia's just out of polite society. We can't acknowledge them. We can't look at the flag. And that's it. And I'm not saying ban Israel from sports, by the way. I'm just saying it's interesting how Russia's banned from sports and everyone else is not. It's quite interesting. And I'm not saying Israel should be banned from sports. Okay? Palestine's a mess, and I think Hamas has a lot of power there. Nobody's clamoring for Palestine to get, after October 7th, nobody was saying ban Palestine from major sport tournaments. People have been saying, I mean, maybe some people have. I haven't really seen it. A lot of people have been lobbying for Israel to get banned. It's like, no. Let everyone play. Let North Korea keep playing. It's fun. Let North Korea keep playing Brazil and then watch what happens when they lose 6-1 and then North Korean television puts out images of like paid actors beating up like black guys because people in Korea don't know what Brazilians look like. So they just see people that look foreign losing to like Korean looking guys. And they say, yeah, well, checks out. That's funnier. Gattuso. I mean, this is just going to be, we're just going to say the Hail Mary for the next 35 minutes. That's going to be the podcast here. I mean, God help us. God help us all. Gennaro Gattuso, the wartime Consigliere. We will find out if Gennaro Gattuso is a wartime Consigliere. I mean, international football is a sprint. It's not a marathon. So where he probably doesn't quite have everything you would want in a club manager to, lead the charge for a whole season where there's it's a 20-horse race and you're trying to beat a bunch of other, machines. Like, a team coached by Antonio Conte, for example. If Gattuso were, managing in Italy, it would be very hard for him to win a title because you're coaching against Antonio Conte, who's running a military operation for a whole season. That's tough. It's very difficult. A lot of the coaches that you'll see in Serie A or in any league are pragmatic, and international football, international soccer is more of a sprint. It's really just, what can you do over the next 2 games? I don't care about what happens in 6 months. Just give me something now. Let's go out there and beat up these minnows. Let's go out there and beat Moldova. Let's go out there and beat up, this Norwegian center back. It's not, it's not complicated. Rather than, trying to, well, I guess do what Spalletti did for a long time, which was try to teach them about the way that football should be played. And it's like, God, no. Just keep it simple and scare them. So it could work, but, halfway through a cycle is not ideal. You would rather it have happened with a lot of time and leeway. Now to just throw them to the wolves is where it gets a little challenging. You could really see it getting fucking ugly. There's a world where it works out beautifully, definitely. And then all the expats are thrilled because he's, Calabrese. And the guy actually came to Montreal once and had dinner at someone's house in St. Leonard. It's like a part of Montreal Italian lore. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you know that time Gattuso went to so-and-so's house in fucking St. Leonard? He went for lunch. It's like, there's just a picture of a guy fucking shaking Gattuso's hand in like his mom's marble entrance to her fucking duplex, her duplex home in the East End of Montreal, and he's like drinking Dr. Pepper, out of a bottle with a French label. It's kind of part of local Italian lore. So, people in all corners of the globe that are Italian know someone who knows his family, probably. There's a lot of, interconnectivity. Just to however many degrees, more people will know him abroad now than whatever disconnected coach might otherwise take over the national team. Like, I don't know, Simone Inzaghi was a proposed option. No one here, knows anything about Carlo Ancelotti, but people know, hey, Gattuso's cousin lives 20 minutes from here. Because he's from that part of the peninsula. But, I mean, there's definitely still hope. I mean, just anytime you get change in a coaching position, generally positive things happen, right? People view it as a fresh start. Really, all he has to do is win a couple games in a couple international breaks at the start of the season. Then it sets the stage nicely for the Norway game, where we're probably not going to be in a position if Norway keep winning to necessarily go top of the group. There's a chance, especially if Norway drops points once. We just have to not drop points anymore. So that'll be where the challenge is. But everyone's talking about it like it's over. I mean, it's really not. All we have to do at this point is beat Moldova, beat Israel, beat Estonia. I mean, is it that difficult to do? I mean, every individual game, though, starts 0-0, and that's where the challenge comes. Because now the players, you could tell, they're already starting to kind of go into, Macedonia mode. If you watch the Macedonia game 3 years ago, you'll remember that we went into it thinking, okay, well, we're obviously going to win. Naturally. I mean, we're not going to lose this fucking game to Macedonia. So it's just a question of when the goal comes. And then, 20 minutes into the game, you still haven't scored. Because scoring a goal is difficult. And now you start to tense up because you're at home. There's pressure. You missed the last one. Doesn't feel like a formality. It feels like a real banana skin. And you miss a couple chances. Bang, you're going into the last 20 minutes. And now you have to tense up because you're like, well, Christ. There's a lot of pressure on us. There's very little pressure on Macedonia. They're playing with house money. So we start not going forward. We start tensing up. And then bang, we concede a goal. Just like against Sweden, right? It was when was that? 7 years ago. It was a weird position to be in, to be like, well, 8 years ago now. It was a weird position to be in to say, well, we're not necessarily automatically qualified, so we got to go through these guys. Well, we will. They're Sweden. We're Italy. We're obviously better. We're just going to go do it now. And then you start the game off and you're tied. You're not leading automatically. You don't start off with a head, you don't begin the game with a head start. That's when the head games start coming into it. That's where having a coach that can kind of, I guess, instill a little bit of confidence and a little bit of calm is good. It's going to be very tough, though, because tying a game is a disaster. So you start off the game in disaster. Like 0-0 is awful. You can't concede a goal, obviously, but if you don't score one, you're fucked also. You're dropping points, and that's a terrible position to be in. So the players every game now are going to be in the qualification campaign kind of frantic right off the bat. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they should be. Maybe they ought to be. And if they can kind of get a couple results, then they'll start to believe, okay, well, this is fine. Especially if Norway loses one game or drops points one game. Okay, now we're back in the driver's seat. All we have to do is win every game now. I guess the concern, the existential angst of what's going on around you, being out of your control, can be very challenging. But all to say, you feel like maybe every game now is going to start off from a point of, I don't know, it's like we're at a mental disadvantage. But the good thing is everyone on the team respects and knows who Gattuso is because they all watched him play. So that's a positive. That's a real important factor because nobody respects Luciano Spalletti. Nobody. A couple guys that he played for who are in the team. It's really just Giovanni Di Lorenzo. He's the only mainstay from the Napoli team who I think Was he not Italy? Is he not? Has he not been serving as captain a lot of the time? No, it's Donnarumma. But he's a prominent squad figure, and he's kind of the guy that I think would probably go most to bat for Spalletti. They're both from the same part of the country. They're both Tuscan. They're both relatively well-spoken, intelligent guys, seemingly so, right? So I think, Di Lorenzo maybe gave him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. But Moise Kean, who raps, sorry, it's in one ear, it's out the other. Like Nicolo Zaniolo, who is not part of the team right now because he's not been performing great. But, when he was around Luciano Spalletti, it was in one ear and out the other. Nicolo Zaniolo is an animal. He thinks, I must. Really, Nicolo Zaniolo is one of those guys that probably talked about this before as well on the pod, but he's one of these guys that basically the reason he probably works at football is because there's not a lot going on, right? So he just gets the ball, goes, power, drive forward, off the field, fuck. Because his mom, his father's an animal who when your mom's too hot. Zaniolo's mom posts pictures of herself. Years ago, we talked about this. She posts pictures of herself online. At one point in time, pretty prolifically. Tits out, duck lips. If your mom cares about how she looks to that extent, that's a type of woman. When she was young, she was also seeking attention and stuff and found your footballer father, which is what Zaniolo has, is a father was a footballer, who just thought, I'm gonna schiaff this woman. I'm gonna not schiaff like darle uno schiaff, not hit like like metaphorically. I'm gonna tap that ass, and he did, and I think I don't even know if they're still together. It's not the point, but Zaniolo does that. He taps hot ass. I think he has kids with multiple women. There's an Italian lady about his age. There was a Turkish woman recently. He's all over the place. That guy's an idiot. You need him to score goals, okay? It's helpful to have someone like that score goals for you. But it's hard to get the most out of a guy like that when you're Luciano Spalletti, who's trying to speak to him like a human being. Gattuso's probably a little better suited to coach someone like that because Gattuso is a guy who played football with a bunch of other idiots. I don't think Gattuso's a stupid guy. But he's maybe a guy you'd say has a little more, more street smart perhaps than book smart. If you hear the guy, speak, he's not the most calm and measured. Everyone knows that about him. It's kind of the stereotype. But I think he understands how to deal with guys that might have been a problem. In the Milan team, he played with, good boys like Kaká, and he played with Ronaldinho at one point, who was a head case, who was basically just a think it hit me. He had a dick on his head. He was not a dickhead like he's an idiot. He didn't have a brain. He had the head of his penis on his head. That's what Ronaldinho was. Ronaldinho would just go out and bang. That was what he would do. Because when you're a young man, you don't have a family, and you're loaded. You either have a brain that thinks about why it's good that Iran is being bombed on their nuclear sites and why that might be good for the world or why it's bad for the world. I think it's good for the world, but who gives a shit what I think? You have guys that think that, and you have guys that just don't, that think with, animalistic urges. Eat, drink, fuck, football. Okay? That's Ronaldinho. I think Gattuso, playing the game with guys like that, has a bit more of an understanding of probably how to manage them. I like that he has a track record of bringing in young guys who he, entrusts. It's positive. I don't think the issue is that we don't play enough young guys. I think the issue is we just haven't been able to foster a positive mental environment for the group lately. So that'll be the challenge for him, is to see what he's able to I guess kind of curate. Because you curate your team based on the personalities involved. He'll know from Buffon who's good and who's not a good egg. But I think that, if you really want to foster a positive environment, Roberto Mancini was right there. But Gravina will never take him back because they had a falling out, and Gravina has an ego. Probably he just. I would assume that's the only reason why. Because Mancini came out the other day and apologized publicly and said, "Yeah, well, of course I would come back. I made a mistake," which is to say, I knew full well what I was doing, and I have no real regrets about that decision. But given that it didn't work out, now I'm in a position where I need to kind of beg for my supper. Okay, fine. I mean, he's saying the right thing, which is, I fucked up. All right, great. You went to Saudi Arabia for the money? Yeah, fine, okay. I mean, you fucked up because it didn't work out. If Saudi Arabia was going to the World Cup and your life was, great and your woman was happy and you were still making 20 million euro a year, you'd be in a good spot, but you're not. So you gotta, go hat in hand. He tried. Gravina said no. So he took the option that I suspect Buffon probably had a little bit of a hand in. It's just so crazy that when you look back at the 2006 World Cup team and you look at all the players that we had then, one of the last guys you would have thought would have made the best coach to spearhead the Italian national team and kind of bring them back to winning just a match at the World Cup, a competitive match. The last time we won a knockout match at the World Cup, not a competitive match. The last time we won a knockout match at the World Cup was July 9th, 2006 with Gennaro Gattuso. So if you could pan out into the future, 20 years, and tell everyone that wanted to listen at the time, yeah, in 20 years we won't have won another competitive sorry, there's that word again. Yeah, in 20 years we won't have won another knockout match at the World Cup. So we're going to have to bring in one of these guys from this team to really foster a, positive environment through which to work to get back to a World Cup, to put us in that position to, we'll be at the World Cup, get out of a group and win just a knockout game. Let's get the momentum rolling again with one of the guys in this team. It's 20 years from now, so naturally one of them will be well-suited to coach. I mean, everyone would have said, it's Andrea Pirlo, it's Fabio Cannavaro. Two of the worst, two of all the guys that wound up going into coaching, two of the ones that had the least success out of everyone, right? Who would you have not said might have been a good coach? I mean, maybe Marco Materazzi, Gennaro Gattuso, for the same reason, right? They're both crazy. And to be fair, Materazzi's not a coach, but, Gattuso. Generally, it's maybe a more low-key, demure guy, maybe like a Massimo Oddo, like a Fabio Grosso, I think had it. He's had an okay go of it, not with enough success to warrant coaching the national team. That's for sure. But usually, it's maybe like a more low-key kind of guy that becomes a better coach. It's not Totti, right? It's not the best technical player on the team. It's a guy who kind of had to understand how to play the game intelligently. I guess, Gattuso in a lot of ways did have to do that because he wasn't the most technically sharp. But, this isn't like a case for him as a coach. This isn't me making a case for him as a coach, in general, right? This isn't a broad case for him as a coach because he's been coaching for years. I mean, we already know he's kind of able to do it. But it's like, hey, man, you want to guarantee results. You don't go with him. It's a gamble. And at this point, if we have a horrible World Cup and we make it, is that good? Just given the point he's starting in, which is, to say with a major disadvantage, I guess kind of, perhaps at this point. I guess at this point, it's probably a benefit to his long-standing, his long-term viability to just qualify for the World Cup. Just qualify for the World Cup at this point. That's how low the bar is now. Christ, man. A lot of people last week on the pod, a humble number of people that listened to this last week said something to the effect of, it's kind of fucked up. I was lobbying for, perhaps not reducing the number of years that you need to remain in Italy in order to become an Italian citizen. I was praising the Italian people for not writing something like that into law. Some people wrote me and said, bro, the population is aging. They're dying off. We need people to replace. What? When did this idea start? That it's like we need to, all the people in the country right now, this is the perfect number. We got to replace them all tit for tat. If we're not banging enough from within, we got to bring outside. It's no. I'm gonna stop you there. I'll take less people. I'll take fewer people. I'll take fewer people I like. You know, just in general, I'll take a smaller, tighter clan. We're 100 people. It's hard to manage. Hey, 10 people died. Great. We trimmed some fat. You know, like, we don't got to bring in 10 more souls. We'll take anyone. Just come in. We got to keep the number to the same. No. Let's keep it a little tighter. Let's work with the guys we have. Let's ensure quality candidates over just, listen, we'll bring in anyone. Fuck it. Let's bring people in to replace the bodies. Let's move them from there to here. Now the places we're bringing them from have fewer people. Are they going to have to replace those fucking people? No, those places that people are leaving from are happy to shed people. They're like, fucking thank God. Thank God. We could breathe. And Lord knows it's hard to breathe here. You know, whatever place you think I'm talking about, it's probably that place. But yeah, I don't know, like. But I'm not. By the way, I'm not telling people how to, vote really. But what I would like here is I realized what I want is, all I really want out of this show is I want to be able to have a Bordello voting block. I want to be able to have a voting block that just kind of makes. Like, because right now when I'm talking about how, I feel this way about something, I don't know how many people I'm actually influencing. What is it? Is it 37 people that are going to change how they vote or feel more informed ahead of a vote in an Italian, I don't know, fucking election of any kind, right? Be it a referendum or electing people to parliament or whatever. How many people am I influencing on this show, right? That are card-carrying members that are getting the voting papers. I mean, you see the numbers on YouTube. How many of the fucking people listening to this am I really influencing, right? How big is the Bordello voting block right now? I would just like to grow the Bordello voter block substantially enough, if that's not redundant. I would like to grow the voter block to the point that we're a thorn in their side, whoever they are. I want people to appeal to me. I want to have to be appeased. I want people to say, all right, let's cut Sam Adamo a break. He's got not a wide sphere of influence, but people vote with him. He's got a little voting block of a few hundred or maybe 1,000 people that just vote. Maybe enough to swing an election, perhaps, if something's a little tight in terms of, I don't know, let's say, I think North and South America, or North and Central America, has like a seat in Parliament. Let's just get to be enough of a voting block that if we all vote one way, we could potentially swing a seat. That's the goal. I just want to be appeased like an imam. I want, just like the Labour Party in the UK kind of has to go to like the imams and say, all right, what do you want? What do we got to concede to you? So you go tell your people when you preach to them what to vote for. That's all I want. That's all I want, is to be able to preach to people who to vote for. And the Italian government says, fuck, this is, all right, expect a wave of 1,000 voters in North America to go this way. That's all I want. That's all I want from this show. So, I mean, that's my view, right, on the population thing. Hopefully we can all hopefully I'm planting seeds in many of you to say, oh yeah, I would have 50 million Italians, but it's exactly as it is now, not more of a soup of having to mix in other different cultures that we might have to maybe kind of be mindful of, and fucking, are they adapting? Do we have to deport some of them? Are they really in line with our values? Just end the discussion. We don't have to worry about that. We just thin the herd a little bit. Let the old people die. All right, people are having fewer kids. Okay. It's fine. We manage what we got. Have more kids, by the way. Start banging. I mean, that's the real solution, right? We don't have enough people. Okay. Get to it. Bend over. Do what you got to do. Let's go. Like, I'm sorry. I don't want to bring, like, I don't want to bring, I don't want to bring in, like, Chinese people to Italy who are, like, being sent in by, I don't know, fucking, like, one in 10 of the Chinese people coming to Italy have, like, ties to the Chinese government, and they're going to, like, try to cause some kind of, they're going to try to destabilize the government from within. It's like, hey, just cut it off. Cut it off, man. Let's keep it tight. Italy's not an idea. I mean, it is. It is. Italy is what Italy is, really. I started watching. I mean, it's a book by Di Lampedusa, but I started watching the period piece on Netflix, The Leopard, Il Gatto Pardo, which, very interesting, very well shot. Basically, it takes place in Sicily at the time of the Risorgimento, when Garibaldi was moving in on Sicily in 1860. And, every part of Italy right now that we know is today, Italy as we know today, right, was fragmented into a bunch of different kingdoms. Basically, the book is about the last prince of Sicily kind of adapting to the time as Garibaldi closes in on him. And it was interesting also because, I think the king, Victor Emmanuel, whose name you'll see everywhere in Italy, right? First of all, it's a reminder that, watching this piece, which I encourage anyone that, if you listen to this show and you're kind of into the same things that I'm into, it's definitely a book worth reading and it's a show worth watching. Really, it's a tale worth knowing and understanding. So, the guy that wound up becoming the king of Italy in 1861, when the Kingdom of Italy was formed and Italy was unified, was, I think, the king of Savoia. So, like, northwestern Italy, so like Piemonte, Turin, Nice, that kind of area. Nice at the time I don't know if it was part of France yet, but it was arbitrarily decided that Victor Emmanuel II, would be the king of Italy. It didn't have to be any of the incumbent kings, but it was decided that one of the incumbent kings would just become the king of now the whole thing, the whole pie. Why him? Why Victor Emmanuel II and not, maybe a royal from Sicily? Well, it's just how it was. I think there were close ties of some kind, and I think it might have been Victor Emmanuel II who kind of, did he fund the initiative? I could be completely speaking out of my ass there, but I think he was friendly to the idea, and so he became the king when it was all done. But right, so what I was saying was a reminder that, history is written by the victors, right? Like, Via Garibaldi, like every town in Italy has a, Piazza Garibaldi, Via Garibaldi. His name is everywhere because he unified Italy, which is very cool. It is. Kind of get on the same wavelength, one language. It's how, it's the birth of a nation. It's the birth of any nation, right? That's how it works. But I guess it was cool for everyone pretty much except for the royal families, right? Like the royal family of Sicily would have much preferred to keep their kingdom. But, you can't have that, right? Because individual kingdoms and monarchies can lead to, a tyrant and so on. And so, anyway, just it's not tenable. And it kind of still wound up being the same thing for a while because it was a kingdom, but eventually, we became a republic, 80 odd years later. But the fact that it was a kingdom actually is what led to Mussolini being able to, take power as easily as he did. He just had to bully the king, and I think the king abdicated, and that was it. It was done. And we fell to a fascist regime. But how I got to talking about this, I fucking Christ, I don't even shit. I don't remember the point I was making, but just in short. Right, so just what Italian identity is, or what the point of Italy is well, it was meant to be a state for the people of those, those lands, as opposed to America, which was founded on the ideas of freedom and everyone under the sun here is treated equally, and please come here to join us. We want you here. Come, work hard, and That's not really the point of it. Most European countries is actually kind of the opposite. It's stay the fuck out. We're our own thing. So, the way that a lot of European countries have kind of been managed lately is, they're diametrically opposed to that. And, by the way, it's for better or worse. There's a lot of stupid ideas in Italy, but it's like, hey, keep them. These are our stupid ideas, and we're going to deal with them. We're going to deal with them as best we can. So, I don't know. I fucking just... There's a lot of shit not to like about Italy. F1, Formula 1, huge in Italy. Some of the people that listen to this might love F1. Sorry, F1's for fucking... F1 is for... Formula 1 racing is for... It's for mongoloids. It's crazy. There's not even a tribal element to it. It's not even like my town versus this town, like in soccer or rugby or something. It's just like this corporate team. I root for this corporate team. Basically, Italy just pulls for Ferrari because it's an umbrella, of Italian identity. That's really the only cool thing about F1, actually, is pulling for Ferrari because Ferrari's kind of Italy's custodian or Italy's representative in that arena. That's really the only cool thing about F1. But the types of people you get that like F1. I mean, it was F1 weekend this past weekend in Montreal. I mean, what a shit show. It's just people... what it is basically people taking pictures of cars they'll never afford. Literally, a guy feels comfortable going up to a car that he's with his girlfriend, and he says, "Babe, take a picture of me in front of this car. I'm meant to provide to you. I'm meant to provide for you. See this car? Take a good look at it. You're never gonna own one of these. I'm never gonna be able to afford one of these fucking cars." Like, just straight up. If you stop and take pictures, I'm not even being satirical. I know I sound like one of these crazy fucking motivational guys on the internet, but it's so true. There's no way that anyone that is ever going to actually buy one of these cars looks at it and says, "Wow, I got to take a picture." No, you got to almost see it and get disgusted and get mad. I feel like if you're going to be a guy that ever affords one of these cars, you have to look at it and just say, "Fucking, I'm so mad I don't own that." By the way, it's the be-all end-all of life isn't own a Ferrari, okay? I'm not saying own a Bugatti. How many Bugattis do you own? I don't give a fuck what car you drive, but I'm saying, like, to look at them and be like, "Wow, I gotta touch it." It's like no, don't touch the fucking thing until you win the actual prize. I think that's the tell of a real, a real man. I don't know, like people being like, "Babe, take a picture of me with this car that I will never be able to put you in." It's like. You have people driving like Honda Civics with spoilers, hitting the gas really hard. I don't know, they're revving. Oh, you have access to $500 a month. You have access to $30,000. Oh, look at me driving this Golf. There's people driving cars fast over there, so I'm gonna drive a car fast here on the main boulevard. Good job. It's like I don't know, man. It's just living vicariously through the presence of people that are successful, right? So that's where the drivers are staying at that hotel. Well, let's go look at them. While they're driving out, wow, look at them. They're so cool. It's like, I don't know. It's not like they. It's not like these are people that really, I don't know. They're not going to change your life. They're not going to have any insight to anything interesting. Like, at least like maybe a thinker or something. I don't know, like an author whose book you like. You speak to him and say, "Hey, I really like your work on this, and it inspired me in my own personal challenge with fucking I don't know, my relationship with my wife, and thank you." Like, there's value to that, but just looking at a guy goes, "Oh wow, cool. He drives car fast. Wow, I'm gonna look at him." It's very weird. So Italy gave us that. Italy gave us Formula 1. I think it's. I don't know. If it's not from Italy, it feels like it should be. Kind of that. I know very little about it, I'm proud to say. But, watch Il Gattopardo. Read the book, definitely. But it's on the reading list. It's on the Bordello reading list. Which, I don't know, maybe we could do a thing just to really, just smoke out the bozos. We'll just turn this into a reading club. Maybe we'll just read some passages from different books, pieces of literature, and we'll kind of infer things from it. That could be fun. Anyway, Gattopardo's definitely on the reading list. I don't know, maybe we get a certain, I don't know, if we hit a certain metric, maybe I'll put out a reading list or something. I don't know. It could be fun. And it is just, but it's a good piece, but it's a good piece of cinema. Like, it's a good work. But the problem with it is, arguably, this is the weird thing about Italian cinema is all the actors are just like half American. They're all half. And by the way, like Gennaro Gattuso's wife is Scottish. Like, he speaks English with a fully Scottish accent. It's very, very strange. Him and Manuel Pascali, that color guy who screams, Inter have scored the goal. Him, the only two guys on earth that have a Scottish Italian accent. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. It's kind of in a Scottish Italian twang that he's saying that. If you actually listen closely, but anyway, so not to say that you can't have multiple cultural influences to become a good actor or a good, I don't know, just a prominent figure in society, right? Like Gattuso's, I think, wife is a Scottish Italian lady. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's interesting how, like, in acting in Italy in particular, there's a lot of maybe guys with, like, I don't know, an Italian father and a Norwegian mom. Like, they're all kind of involved. European cinema is such that people from different parts of Europe kind of all intersect and breed. So you'll have like a half American guy, half German guy, like Ingrid Bergman. I think Isabella Rossellini might have been like Ingrid Bergman's daughter, for example, right? It's an interesting thing that you'll see a lot in cinema. Like there's an actress on. There's an actress in the show, in the series, she's half French, half Italian. I think it's Vincent Cassel and Monica Bellucci's daughter went into acting. And yeah, it's a lot of those types, which is why Michele Morrone is a fun type. That's why Michele Morrone is maybe my favorite Italian actor. He's just like indulging every woman's fantasy about what an Italian guy is. Just a fucking guy from the straight. from the doorstep of, right on Albania's doorstep, the heel of the booth, Southern Italian, tattoos on his hands, on his neck, just fucks on camera. Just fucks on camera. He's a terrible actor, but he's a terrible actor. You know what I mean? Just dramatic. My love, I cannot talk to you anymore. he just plays like aggressive, violent, like trust fund mobsters who live in a villa. He's an Italian actor for the global masses. That's what's fun. That's what's fun about him. I like him for that reason. And he came out recently and said that he thought most of the actors in Italy are full of shit and they all pretend to be left wing to advance their careers. That was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to be like, hey, you're just here because you have a good jawline. You're just here because you're an attractive guy. You're not here because you're not here because you sucked anyone's dick, figuratively or literally, but I mean figuratively. Yeah, I don't know. Listen. Replace the population. Replace the dwindling population of Italy. It's like, hey, man, I don't know. I get it. There's nothing wrong with being from elsewhere, but it's a little strange when you have an imam tell you, yeah, you could have 4 wives. You could have 4 wives and come live here, a country that has traditionally been built on Catholic shame and being prude. And there is an element of that in Islam for sure, but even in The Leopard, okay, even in Il Gattopardo, what's interesting is the prince's wife basically won't fuck him, okay? There's a whole thing in that show, which is the dynamic with the guy's wife, the dynamic between the prince and his wife. Like she won't bang him, so he used to frequent a whore in Palermo, and his wife won't touch him. She's like, and she knows he has a whore, and she's like, it's okay, just I'm afraid you're gonna go to hell, and she won't be like, okay, like I'm gonna take care of you. Let me tickle your nuts a little bit here. Let me try to make sure you're happy. She's like, okay, well I'm still not gonna fuck you much. We have to. For children, we're not going to get too kinky here. They live with a priest. Everyone trusts the priest, by the way. What a horrible gig it must have been to be a priest back then, just to a royal family. Just a priest on a payroll. The family has a priest on the payroll who eats with them and just provides them with like spiritual guidance, basically. And just the prince is convinced, yeah, he'll never fuck my wife. Like, and to be, and maybe it definitely happened back then, but it's interesting how like a lot of people probably did it because they were just so afraid of hell. That's what religion was for, right? That's the history of Italy. That's the history of Italy. It's just like Christian guilt. Don't do it. You'll go to hell. So this priest just like follows the prince around, and the prince is like schiaffing and fucking an apartment up with his whore in Palermo. And, you know, the priest is in like a horse buggy and carriage down on the street, hearing them banging out the window. And it's just the worst job in the world. This guy can't lay with a woman. He's just stood there like saying a Hail Mary with his rosary. And the prince comes back in. He's like, oh yeah, must suck to be you. Anyway, let's go home. Just after emptying his balls. The priest just has no ability. Priest can't bang. Priest can't do anything. He just has to sit there and just listen to people bang. It's just torture. It's hell on earth. But yeah, I don't know. That's fun. They say you could have 4 wives in Islam, but it's like, who can afford that? I've heard people say that before. It's like, yes, well, we could have 4 wives, but it's very expensive, so I'm not gonna. It's like I would if I could, but you know, who has the money for that? Who could deal with 4 sets of in-laws? It's like that's actually it's the best case to just fear God and be turn to Jesus. It's like, no, just one woman. What do you want? 4 sets of in-laws? Oh man, God help us. God help us. Gennaro Gattuso. I said last week it would be fun to go to jail for 5 years. Like, it would be easy. I was thinking about it. I mean it. I was talking about, the context of, if you live 5 years in Italy to get citizenship, that's a cakewalk, and we should keep it as long as possible. Make it difficult. Fuck it. We should make it difficult in any country, to become a citizen of that country. It's a real, it's how you protect yourself from foreign threats, right? You really make people... You want to make people almost have Stockholm syndrome. Like, if you're a Chinese national who's in a country on behalf of the Chinese government, you want to be in the country so fucking long that you almost have Stockholm syndrome and become, like, I don't know, ingratiated to the local customs to the point that you're not even sure if you could still act on behalf of China anymore. The longer, the better. I was saying 5 years is not long because I was saying, like, I could do a 5-year jail sentence, no problem. I was thinking about it. Not only do I really, sometimes I'll hear myself say something on an old episode and I'll say, oh, that was fucking crazy. I actually want to do the opposite here. I want to double down and say, no, I really stand by that. I hope I go to jail one day. Like, to the point that it's almost like everyone should just not pay taxes ever. Just don't pay taxes, and if you go to jail, that's fine. You go to jail for a few years. You don't surrender, like, any money. Just, no, I'll do my time. I did my crime. I'll do my time. Send me to jail. Don't pay taxes. Cheat the government and then go to jail for 5 years. It's fun, Go to jail. 27 now. Come out of jail at 32. 27 to 32 are easy years. You can still have kids. As a guy, I mean, there's no risk at all. No risk. You see who your real friends are. You come out, like, after years of meditating, just stoic, just reading. Kick my phone addiction. See if my woman's a real... I want to see if you're a wartime... I want to see if you're a jail time wife. I want to see if you're a jail time wife who stands by me through this whole thing. That'd be so nice to have a jail time wife. Visitation. Come out of jail just really appreciating the female body. Imagine you just come out of jail after a 5-year sentence. You're home one night with your wife. She's like, you didn't clean the spit out of the sink. Your loogie's in the sink. I didn't miss this. And it's like, fuck it. I'm just going to go rob a bank. I'm going back to jail with my boys. Oh, man. Fuck, man. Well, all right. We went a whole episode without bringing up Israel, really, or Iran. That's a victory in some way. It's going to be a fun summer. It's going to be a fun summer to see what... really to just excruciate over the fact that we're not where we want to be as a national team. And, it's like the countdown, the 365-day countdown. 1 year away from the World Cup. Starting now, that everyone here in America assumed they would have very easy access to watch their national team play in that being, whatever your country of origin, Italy in this case, right? For most of you guys, we don't even know if we're going to make it. The U21s look decent. It'll be fun to see tomorrow. At the time of recording, this game hasn't happened yet. Tomorrow, the best Italian U21 players from the country get to play the third best, the C team of Spain's U21 cohort of talent. That'll be fun to see if we can edge out a nice, nasty fucking draw. Just these guys who've been playing Serie A for years. Just the best 21, 22-year-old fucking Italian players we got. What's his name? Gilozzi. That center back from what's that center back pairing from Verona? Coppola, and I think it's Gilozzi. Hello. Okay, we're just going to take a second briefly on horrible audio here. Just on my phone, walking back home after a show late before the episode comes out to make a couple of amendments. Really, it's just to say I'm an idiot. I'm not a figure to be taken seriously on any matters of Italian football, which you should be aware of already if you listen to this and you hear some of the ways we kind of weave into the topics to do with soccer. If you hear the way that we go about it, you wouldn't listen to me and say this guy's a journalist, okay? Everyone knows that. But I think I got it so wrong here to the point that it's required that I come back and just really state for the record. First of all, I'm clearly out of the loop with the news stuff because Coppola, like hours after the pod was recorded, confirmed like earlier today at the time that I'm about to release this, signed for Brighton for 10 million euro. He signed for Brighton for his transfer market value, which is not a good sign. I mean, it's a bargain, obviously. The fact that he was even available for that little is not a great, maybe sign for the state of Italian football, but it is what it is. The guys have been playing with them for 3 seasons pretty consistently. Every game this season started, gone, 10 million, 10 mil, 10 mil, like just, that's 10 mil, and they're like, yeah, I mean, this is gonna shape our fortunes. I mean, so, under De Zerbi, that's a pretty interesting prospect. He'll be a fun guy to monitor, but clearly I know nothing about what's going on in the transfer market and the news and the rumors and all that stuff. So really just an amendment there. That's the first thing. Second of all, so I confused Gilardi. Jesus, I did it again. Whatever I forget his first name, but Gilardi, the kid that was his center back partner at Hellas Verona, confused him with a former Cosenza player named Ettore Gilozzi. One of those two. Completely muffed it. Not the same guy at all. Gilardi's the guy I was referring to. So just a couple of points to really just take a moment and say, yeah, I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. But, just a couple flagrant errors that were so egregious that it had to be stated. It had to be acknowledged almost. So, all right, back to the pod. Gilozzi. Just getting 4 minutes in Serie A, fucking Baldanzi, Roma, Yonto. Fucking guys getting capped at senior level, and we're going to play the Spanish national team. We'll have like 0 guys who have played with the senior team because a senior Spanish national team has a bunch of guys that are 20 years old that have won the Euro. So, again, I don't know, man. I don't know. We're actually going to, we'll shelf that. We'll talk about the U21 Euro. We'll maybe do a little bit of a deep dive on the U21 Euro in a couple days or maybe next week. I don't know, kind of as the tournament plays out. We'll see what happens there. We qualified from the group, so that's positive. We'll kind of, simulate positive. We'll simulate happiness through, national team football by talking about the youngins. If you enjoy the show, please leave a like on this video. I would appreciate it. And we're trying to get back into these weekly episodes. So I don't know. I feel like this one was a little slower. But, stay with me. We're getting our legs back here. We're going to be doing this every week going forward. We're forcing ourselves to do it, to entertain the humble few masses of the Bordello boating Jesus. The Bordello voting bloc. The Bordello voting bloc who, very erratic, very hard to predict. We don't know if they're fascist or we don't know if they're fucking the most hardcore, like, anti-fascist, partigiano, bella ciao type. That's what we got to do is we got to keep them guessing. All right, we got to keep them guessing. We're going to be like kind of pro-Western, anti-fascist. That's what we are. That's it. Hey, what are you? How do you describe yourself? I'm a pro-Western, anti-fascist. That's not bad. I might use that. I don't even know if that's accurate. Just sounds smart. All right, reading list coming out soon. Till then, enjoy the brain rot that is U21 football, where we play guys like Josep, and we're literally gonna be playing like guys that play fucking. Who plays for the Spanish U21 team right now? Let me look up this team. I want to look up the roster here. Let's end out the episode on this note. Everyone that plays for the Italian U21 national team is basically like they're the best we got, all right? The only one who's not there is like Udoge. Okay, let's see. Oh, Rafa Marin is on the team, plays for Napoli. I'm looking here. Everyone on this team, dude, everyone on the Spanish national team is fucking... Every one of these U21 players is playing top flight football. Every single fucking one of them. We're we're fucking done, dude. Mateo Josef plays for Leeds. 8 goals in 12 matches. He's gonna fucking make a proper mug of Diego Coppola tomorrow, dude. Diego Coppola is the best we've got. A guy who plays for Hellas Verona, rumored to be going nowhere. Do the big boys want him? Nope. He's perfectly suited for the team he's at right now. Hellas Verona. He's the best center back we got at U21 level right now. He's playing for the national team at senior level. That's the current state of affairs. How many of our boys are so well established with the fucking senior setup that they don't have to play U21? Exactly 0. How many? Here's what we're actually going to do here. I'm not going to read off names of Spanish national team U21 players, but what we're going to do is we're going to look up. Let's just for fun. Let's see how many current Spanish senior players are under the age of 23. Let's count it here. Pau Cubarsí. Pau Cubarsí could play at the U21 Euro for the next 4 tournaments. Dean Huijsen, if that's how it's pronounced. 1, 2. Gavi's played 30 times for the Spanish national team. Gavi, that's 3. Pedri. Great. 22 years old. He'll be 23 this year. That's 4. Fermin Lopez. How many world champions do they have? Nico Williams. Jeremy Pinto. 3 goals at senior level. Lamine Yamal. Samu Aguehoa, who I honestly don't know. Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah. So, it's the current state of affairs. Gennarin. Bring in the kids. That's the thing. I think Gattuso's not going to take shit from older guys. He's going to say, let me just bring in kids that are just... I want Gennaro Gattuso to turn it into school. I want him to be like a gym teacher. That's what I want. After having a fucking English literature teacher and or an Italian literature teacher in Luciano Spalletti, I want Gennaro Gattuso who's going to be like a gym teacher. That's what we need. We need a guy to teach phys ed and just yell at them to go harder into the tackle. Fuck it. Long live the Republic. Good luck to us all. Thank you. Ciao.